Cherry forced Christa to slap herself 100 times. When Christa confirmed to her that, hey, I have already slapped myself 100 times, Cherry said, I don't believe you, send me a proof. Which basically meant that Christa had to slap herself again 100 times on video. Friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna discuss something which is very serious, very important, slightly unpleasant, but of extreme importance towards our workplace and our society. We'll be discussing a form of workplace abuse, which is called narcissistic manipulation. We'll go through a horrifying journey of Christa. She's an employee at Brandoville Studios, where she reported to Cherry. Christa over here has been extremely courageous to put out her journey of abuse publicly. I'll be sharing the link in the description. Please do have a look. As a disclaimer, this episode will discuss emotional abuse. It will discuss self-harm, manipulation, as well as physical violence. So please take care. Now, before we get into Christa's journey, let's try and understand who's a narcissist and what is narcissistic manipulation. So narcissistic people are someone who are extremely self-centered, who love being in power over others and their environment, who are constantly gaslighting their victims, making their victims doubt their own reality, making their victims completely dependent on them, be it emotionally or financially. Now, throughout this video, I'll be constantly quoting Christa, and it's a first-party account. As again, you can read her account from the link in the description. So let's get started. Let's set the context for this whole story. So Christa is a fresh graduate. She has graduated in arts and wants to create a career in art form, right? And Cherry over here runs Brandoville Studios along with her husband. It's a gaming animation studio. So here Christa meets Cherry for an interview, and very subtle forms of manipulation begin early. I'm going to quote Christa over here. At first, Cherry seemed like a kind and charismatic person, the sort of a person who was genuinely interested in helping me. I was fresh out of school, vulnerable, yet very excited. Cherry offered her a role, but not in art. She offered her a role in marketing. Cherry started these very subtle manipulations wherein she started making Christa feel not very confident about her own skills on the art, but rather pursue a career in marketing. So far, I believe it's still all right. Correct? That's what you feel as well? Well, it gets murkier from here, right? Now, as per a lot of studies which have been done on narcissistic personality disorder, this seems to be one of the characteristics where the person starts enforcing these beliefs on the victim that they are not good at certain abilities, right? And this is where Christa's journey begins. However, very quickly, Cherry started deploying one of the primary characteristics which narcissistic people have, which is isolation and gaslighting. So at first, she started isolating Christa from her friends, and slowly she started isolating her from her family as well. It came to an extent where Cherry would force Christa to gossip with her colleagues, and then she would tell on her. There came a point where Christa did not have any friends or anyone close to whom she would open up. Same was the case with her family. She started dictating her when to go to the church, when to meet her family, be constantly available for me. By me, it's Cherry. Now, narcissistic people, they often are often very big on controlling the whole narrative, on creating these trust issues amongst victims' own ecosystem, right? Again, I'm going to quote Christa over here. She told me when I could and could not visit my family, she would often call me during family events, forcing me to leave the events. She would punish me for talking to my mom without her permission. Now, this kind of tactic of isolation is a hallmark of narcissism, right? By cutting Christa's support system, she's enforcing that Christa becomes completely dependent on her. Let's talk about another narcissistic character, which is gaslighting and emotional abuse. Now, in this, Cherry would enforce Christa to stop believing her own reality. Like, for example, what she would do is, Cherry would do that she would contradict herself, deny things she had previously said, and would force Christa to believe that she is making a mistake, right? Quoting Christa over here, she would often accuse me of not being humble or of lying. Once she made me write down, I am greedy, I am selfish, and I think dirty and nasty 100 times. Now imagine someone forcing you to do this every week. You automatically start believing on these negative connotations. You start believing that you're good for nothing. The worst part, as Christa says, that she started to believe it. She started to believe that she was good for nothing. Now, gaslighting is a psychological tool which narcissists use to control their victims. They make them doubt their perceptions, memories, even their sanctity. Let's talk about power. As we discussed earlier, narcissist people, they want to be in power always. They want all the power to be with themselves. One of the tactics which they deploy is to enforce forms of exploitation, forms of financial or physical exploitation on their victims, just to ensure that the victim feels that my perpetrator is in control. Now, in this case, quoting Christa over here, Cherry told me to use my own money to buy her personal items like clothes, even her menstrual products, and promised reimbursements that never came. She made me take debt from my family and from other financial institutions, completely making me dependent financially on her. Now, narcissist people, they deploy financial control to tighten their grip over their victims. And Cherry was exactly doing that over here. Now, on to one of the most horrifying pieces of Christa's journey, which is physical abuse. So, Christa shared a video, we're going to play it for you. Cherry forced Christa to slap herself 100 times. When Christa confirmed to her that, hey, I have already slapped myself 100 times, Cherry said, I don't believe you, send me a proof. Which basically meant that Christa had to slap herself again 100 times on video. And it started escalating further. Quoting Christa again, she started hitting me, dragging me by hair, slapping me in public, and making me hit my head against walls. It was always framed as a punishment for minor mistakes, things that didn't even happen or weren't my fault, says Christa. Now, physical abuse is often a culmination of long-term emotional and psychological manipulation. And Cherry over here absolutely comes out as a master manipulator. Now, finally, we have to acknowledge and commend Christa for taking the courage to come out in public and sharing with all of us the years of emotional abuse she has gone through. I can only understand how it must have impacted her psychologically. But this is a very important conversation which we need to have. With our friends, with our loved ones. If you know someone whom you feel is going through this kind of abuse, or you are one of them, please speak it out. Please speak to your friends. Please speak to your family members. Speak to your mentors. Reach out to relevant authorities. Please do not suffer in silence. I hope this video was useful. Thank you so much. Have a good day.